In a previous video, I mentioned that God is incomparable. And so it's very difficult to say what God is like. You cannot say he's like this or like that. And everything we say about God is only an approximation. Naturally, this raises the question, how can you come to know God? After all, is not the purpose of life to come to know and love God? This is one of the first questions we wrestle with in seminary. How do you know God? And there really is only one answer. The only way to know God is for Him to reveal Himself to you. He has to tell you what He's like. And so in a sense, everything we know about God has been revealed from God. Now be very careful here, because a lot of people misunderstand this point, and they think everything that is said about God was revealed from God. That's not true. You need to question all teachings, and that goes for the teachings we do here in Fractals and the discussions we're having. You have to question it. But ultimately, God has to come to us and He has to tell us in some form. He has to communicate what He's like. He does this in two ways. The first way is what we call general revelation. That means that we can tell something about God from what He has created. Now, Paul speaks about this in Romans 1, where he says the invisible qualities of God can be shown to us through creation. So when we look at creation, we can tell something about God. We know that God is very powerful, we know that He is ordered, and we know that God is creative. But God also speaks or communicates in a more precise way, in a more specific way, and we call this specific revelation. And again here there are two aspects to this. The first aspect is the Bible. You see, the Bible is filled with the testimony of hundreds of people who have experienced God communicating to them. And God communicated to them in different contexts. And it's through these experiences that they have written down that we can come to know what God is like. And from that we get a sense that God cares passionately about human beings. He's interested in our affairs. And the second way God specifically speaks to us is in Jesus Christ. You see, in Jesus, God Himself comes to tell us what He is like. And it's through the experience of those disciples who experienced Jesus firsthand, and those who came just slightly after, who experienced Jesus through the other disciples, but also through our own experience of Jesus, that we can most fully know God. Jesus is the brightest specific revelation of God. And it's in Jesus that we see that God is full of compassion, full of love, full of mercy, full of grace, that He really cares about us. So if you want to come to know God more, listen to His communication in creation, read about the testimony of hundreds of people in the scriptures, and experience God through Jesus Christ in your own personal life. But remember, all these things work together. They cannot be taken in isolation. We live in a community, and it is in that community that we come to know God more.